Hi, welcome to Studio 501c3. I'm your host, Kim Jones, Executive Director of the Nonprofit Village. Studio 501c3 features nonprofit organizations the IRS has designated as public charities because they provide a public benefit. In most cases, your donations to them are deductible. We proudly partner with Montgomery Community Media on this show, featuring the county's many nonprofit programs and services. Our guest today is the Executive Director of Arts on the Block, Anne LeCoeur. Anne leads this nonprofit that empowers young people to imagine and shape fulfilling futures. Anne, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Kim. It's really a delight to be here.
Great. So let's have some fun with this. So Arts on the Block offers a variety of programs that allow students and young people to have a future filled with creative opportunities, workforce development. Tell us a little bit about the programs and the impact on those students and why they kind of become our future entrepreneurs.
Sure. So Arts on the Block, we are a professional public art studio. And what's cool about us is we're run by young people. So our youngest program is called YAM, Youth Arts Movement, and kids can join in as young as 8 years old to learn the fundamentals of art, to get connected with community projects, and to learn the very specific process of making public art. Then we have Pour Your Art Out, that's our teenage studio, and then we also have a program called Design Your Future. Those are young creative leaders who are on their way to their creative careers. And when you put that all together, a kid can stay with Arts on the Block through school and high school and even into college life and work on their creative practice.
Wow. And by public art, you mean what?
Think of the a large wall on a side of a building. Mm-hmm. And we're kind of known for working in mosaic, but we do also work in paint. And so a large mural that you would see in a downtown area or in a neighborhood, that's the kind of work we do.
Okay, very good. And I think you even have an example of a contract that is kind of one of your bigger contracts in the state of Maryland.
Yeah, well, we have lots of partners that we work with. One that we've been with for a long time and we really enjoy the relationship is Montgomery County Department of Transportation. And in particular, we work on sidewalk murals that go in and around the public transit system, bus stops or other kinds of transit stops, so that you can kind of get a sense of where you are by the unique artwork that's actually in the sidewalk. And it's made out of mosaic, so once it's installed, it will be there for a really long time.
Okay, and so how do those designs come about? The students are engaged in that process as well in terms of figuring out what the design will be and how it will represent the vision of who is doing the contract work with you?
Absolutely, yeah. So our studio works in teams. We're always on teams together. And the first thing that our studio team does is meet with the client. So in this instance, it would be the Department of Transportation. And really learn what the priorities of the project are, what the technical parameters are, and then what kinds of designs and artistic inspiration they're interested in. In those projects, because the Department of Transportation is a public agency, we go out and do community charrettes or community meetings in order to talk with neighbors who live around the particular site for a particular work. And that's what makes the work unique and original. And then those designs get put together in the studio. We choose what we think is the best of our work to present as a team, and then we show it to the client. We work back and forth until the designs are done, and then fabricate them.
Wow. So it's not just that it's innovative in terms of how the art is done. This is really a model kind of an innovative model of engaging students and emerging artists that becomes like a social enterprise.
Yeah, so creative careers are really cool. I'm biased. I love them. I'm sure you do too.
Right.
It's fun to do this kind of work, and a lot of people are naturally talented in it. But sometimes it's not fun, or it can be really confusing to figure out how to get a job doing creative work.
Sure.
So really what we do is try to make that not a mystery, to learn that at the same time that you're developing your technical skills, like hand drawing or using color or even doing digital design, that you're also learning about how to make a living at that, and how to have security and how to dream big about your future.
Right. So, Anne, you are such a creative powerhouse. You've worked in the creative industries throughout the U.S., creative education, and what you have brought to this is real creative placemaking, and it's helping to build community. So in the minute that we have before we go to a break, tell us a little bit about this placemaking.
Yeah, well, especially where we are right now, design is such a powerful tool to make our communities, our neighborhoods, the natural environment, the designed environment, and the choices that designers make in creating those spaces has a lot to say about who we are and what's important to us. So I am really passionate about young people getting a chance to lead that conversation, because I really believe that they have a vision for us.
Okay. Great. So when we come back from break, we're going to take a little time to talk a little bit about your partnerships. But right now, we've got to take this short break, and then we'll find out more about Arts on the Block. You're watching Studio 501c3 on Montgomery Community Media. Please stay with us.
Jimmy can't sing, and Tommy can't dance, so we're gonna put some ants in their pants. Aww, they'll walk like a monkey, hop like a bunny. Isn't that funny? Ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants. They've got ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants. Ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants. They got ants in their pants. They've got ants in their pants.
One more time.
Jimmy can't sing, and Tommy can't dance, so we're gonna put some ants in their pants. Aww.
Kids will spend 22 minutes watching us, the super duper party troopers, sing about ants in their pants.
Isn't that funny? Ants in their pants, they got ants in their pants. They've got ants in their pants, they got...
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Turning a 20-foot wall into a canvas takes vision. So will getting into college. I've got what it takes. So do you.
Welcome back to Studio 501c3. I'm Kim Jones. With me is Anne LeCoeur, Executive Director of Arts on the Block. So, Anne, we were talking before the break and going into a little bit about some of your partnerships. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, one of the things you mentioned, social enterprise, and one of the things that's unique about our model is that we partner with private clients to create artwork for lots of different purposes. So we've worked with commercial developers, we've worked with banks, and each one of those opportunities it's a chance for all of us to learn inside the partnership. You know, sometimes if you work for a business, you don't get an everyday opportunity to meet with community members and neighbors. So that's a great experience as a corporate partner. Same for us. Sometimes
also for the student that's in the program, because they're learning to contribute, I guess, to the quality of life in the community, and you're actually creating leaders among these student artists.
That's right. And when they get to work with our client partners, then they make the community connection, they make the business connection. And, that's the way we want the world to work, right? Is we all know each other.
Right.
So they get good at that style of leadership as a teenager.
Yeah, great. So let's talk a little bit about people that are excited by what you're doing, but they're not artists. They couldn't be teachers. They're not going to work alongside the students that might apprentice with them. How can someone who's visiting your site, who knows about you, either collaborate, volunteer, get involved with what you have to offer?
We have a couple of different opportunities. Of course, if you're interested in working with us on a Mosaic project, we invite your call. We also have public events that are called Block Talks, and we invite community members to join us. Block Talks, salons. It's really a chance to connect with a creative community and to talk about creative practice.
Give me an example of what a Block Talk topic might be.
Absolutely. We've had two lately. Our deputy director is Clayton Evans, and he is an amazing studio artist who has a fascinating approach to his own artwork. And one thing I say is you learn creative leadership through osmosis. You kind of just are around creative people and you get a hang for some things. So understanding Clayton's perspective, how he thinks about his time in his studio and what he's currently working on is incredibly valuable as you're coming up and learning how to develop your own creative practice.
Oh, wow. So, and some of the other artists and community leaders that you've been able to connect the students with?
Sure. Another one, another recent Block Talk is Chris Barclay, and this was a partnership with the Office of Human Rights in Montgomery County. They take a bus tour every year to visit significant civil rights history sites. And on the 10th anniversary, Mr. Barclay was the official photographer. So he did a Block Talk for us. He's also part of the AOB family.
Right.
And his Block Talk really showed the history and the story and the experience of going on that tour, which we would recommend to everyone. But then also Chris's perspective through his photography, which is, everybody who's an art lover knows that you can just pay attention and fall in love,
Right. Right. No, this is fabulous. So we've got about 20 seconds. Plans for the future.
We have some good news, which is that AOB is taking our next steps to head to our new home in downtown Silver Spring.
Yay.
We've been planning a studio for a long time, and so the next steps are happening to do that. In the meantime, we've also developed a remote online studio, and there's lots of work and activity and updates on our website.
Good. All right, so now we know a lot more about what's happening with Arts on the Block. That's all the time we have, surprisingly, but I want to thank Anne LaCour from Arts on the Block, and to find out more about the Arts on the Block program, visit the website artsontheblock.com. Or is it .org?
It's .com.
Yeah, okay. So, Anne, thank you so much. Join us next time on Studio 501c3, your window on nonprofits in Montgomery County. I'm Kim Jones. See you again at Studio 501c3 on Montgomery Community Media. This episode of Studio 501c3 was sponsored by MBA Growth Partners.